Hello, my name is Jennifer Fenton, and this is my submission for Assignment 5. Within this Google Slides presentation, I've also embedded links to the first 4 assignments I completed for this course. I decided to change my project after reading the chapter on digital natives and deciding that my original project idea was nowhere near as engaging as I had originally hoped it would be. I made changes to Assignment 1, the plan, and Assignment 4, the animated video, to reflect my new project. In this new project, students will create a game which will be used as a summative assessment for our unit on the American Civil War. Students may choose to create a board game, computer game, card game, television-based game, or design a game of their own. Every game must include key details related to the war, such as causes and effects, influential people, and major events. Students will work in small groups of 3 or 4, which will be heterogeneously mixed according to students' reading levels. In addition to the game, students will have to include a video introduction which will explain how to play the game, its rules, and give a model. My audience for this project are the 28, 9, and 10-year-olds in my 4th grade classroom. Included in this group of students are 13 advanced readers, 9 on-level readers, and 6 below-level readers. This information is important because before the students actually begin to create their games, they will have to work as a group to complete research on the Civil War. Some of the nonfiction texts that have been pulled may be difficult for my below-level readers, so working in heterogeneously mixed groups will allow the stronger readers to help the weaker ones. Additionally, we have community visit days where parents and guardians are allowed to come in and students show off their work. I have a feeling that many students will want to play their games against their parents, so the parents and guardians would also be added to our audience. My county follows the Common Core state standards, and that is where our objectives for this project come. The first 3 objectives all relate to reading informational text and will have the students use details in the text to explain what it says and make inferences about the Civil War, summarize the text and identify key details, use specific information in historical texts to explain major events and ideas in the war. Additionally, students will work in collaborative discussions and will add audio and visual recordings to presentations. As I mentioned before, I made changes to my animated video. The new video I created would be used to introduce the project to my students. Objectives A through C all relate to reading informational texts. The students will meet these objectives during their research for their games. I will monitor and assess their learning through the use of graphic organizers. These graphic organizers are very similar to the ones that we already use within our classroom. We quite often use top hat graphic organizers such as this to compare characters or 2 texts. We use double entry journals to take notes. And we also use timelines to note important events. The objective on collaborative discussion will also be met as students conduct their research, design their games, and finally create their game. I will monitor and assess students on this objective through the use of anecdotal notes and checklists, as well as through a reflection which the students will complete at the end of their project. Finally, the objective relating to adding audio recordings and visual displays will come at the completion of the students' games. This is when they will record their video introduction, which will also serve as the assessment for this objective. While my students have only begun to complete the researching and designing phases for their games, I've already started to see some glows or some positives that I really like about this project. First, students are obviously learning the required information as it relates to the American Civil War. This is the #1 objective, and it's clearly being met. There's an obvious increase in student engagement as students work collaboratively, as they research on the computer, as they read articles, and there's also a focus on instructional design principles. I was able to assess my students' prior knowledge using collaborative KWL, and I have also modified my expectations after talking with various student groups. Finally, I have definitely been able to focus on being a facilitator of instruction instead of a dictator of information. So often, social studies gets put to the back burner because reading, math, and writing take precedence, which means that I generally just spill information to students. However, they have really taken this project all on their own, are conducting research at home and at school, and simply come to me to ask for clarification. In the future, there are some grows I'd like to focus on, or some changes that I'd like to make. For example, I'd like to include more resources for students to access. I thought originally having a list of 7 to 10 resources would be enough. My students have been so engaged that they quickly went through that list of resources and have been doing much more work on their own. I'd also like to add an assessment to the end of the game just to ensure that students really have mastered the concepts related to the American Civil War so that they're better prepared for their future social studies learning. Finally, I will begin to plan for this project much earlier than I began this time around. Unfortunately, I don't always feel like I am meeting my students' needs or can anticipate their questions as well as I usually do, and that's a result of me changing my project at the very end. However, this has been a great learning experience, and I'm now able to really reflect and think about how I might make changes in the future. The ISTE standards that I found which relate to this project include many collaborative and creative thinking standards. I am promoting creative thinking and innovation by having students create their own game. They're using collaborative tools to show their thinking, such as the Collaborify KWL chart and the graphic organizers. They're using digital tools and resources to design applicable learning activities. They're using digital tools to encourage their own independent learning. My students are learning is being customized to meet their individual needs. And of course, I'm promoting collaboration at every turn. The big takeaway ideas for this assignment, first and foremost, include that multimedia applications can be added with ease. I work in a school where it's about 50% brand new teachers and about 50% teachers who have 7 or 8 years of experience. And with this divide, it's often difficult for the older teachers to welcome new multimedia applications, but I was able to easily create the Powtoon video and the graphic organizers, as well as use other applications with ease, and the students just kind of ate it up. It seems like they're built for technology, which we've discussed in our course, and it's really engaging. The applications have provided a smooth, differentiated, and personalized instruction, and they've helped to bridge the gap between school and home. And of course, as I mentioned before, student engagement has increased, and my students are really creating meaningful and memorable learning experiences related to the Civil War. Hopefully my students will finish their games within the next week and a half or so, and then we'll actually get a chance to play, and I'll be able to see if all of my ideas have really come together as I thought they would. Thank you.